Protein bars and OCRs, the first solo podium of a racing career, a first Brit to take part in the DEKA Ultra, and a world IT glitch just for good measure. Hello and welcome to On the Rocks podcast with me, Coach Marshy. Hope you're all well and training is going well at this stage of your season, wherever you might be. So let's welcome today's guest into the show. Hello, Kirsty. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, no, really good, thanks. Good. So before we dive into sort of you and what you're about and what you've done, just a quick question about the DEKA world and whether you think it will go big in the UK and if you think there will be that market for the DEKA Ultra event eventually.
Do you know what? I think, I hope it goes big in the UK. I really do. I think DEKA has so much versatility. Very different to High Rocks in the sense of you've got three different options, obviously, with the three different races. You can do them in a teams, you can do them solo. You can do them with a ruck, so you've got such a range of different options as opposed to High Rocks, which, and again, this is not to slate High Rocks, like, I've done it so many times, I love it as a challenge, but you've just got High Rocks, right? So even when you do it as a team, both of you are running, whereas in DEKA Fit, you can, divide up your runs. You're only doing run 1 and run 10 together. You've got the other 8 in between that you can, divide up how you wish. So yeah, I think that I would love it to go big in the UK. I really would. I think it will. But I think Spartan just need to trust the UK, let us have a fit in an arena. I mean, it's great that they've given Ford as the roadshow. Like, I think that's absolutely brilliant. Obviously, so everyone can complete their trifecta. But I think give us an arena event, let everybody see how it really kicks off because it's so much fun. And yeah, I hope it will go big. And the Ultra, honestly, the Ultra was such a blast. I would love that to come to the UK because, again, I think like there's a real big Ultra community in the UK. People that have done the outdoor Spartan Ultra, which I have as well. And, having done both, like I would do DEKA Ultra again in a heartbeat. The outside one, not so much. It was hard, but yeah, like the indoor one for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. You raise a few good points there. I think the trusting of the UK community is something that I believe is just, it's one of those things probably in business where you just got to take that kind of risk. But I think as British individuals that have been involved in the DEKA space over this sort of last 12 months or so in particular, I think I would agree strongly with you that agreement, that kind of like agreeing with you that they need to trust our market because I think the minute we get our hands on it, it'll be big. It'll be big. And I'm going to ask you a lot about that as we go through your sort of journey as well. So let's kind of unpack it a little bit at a time and we'll get to the podium and we'll get to the Ultra in a bit. But I say there protein bars and OCR at the beginning because that is actually your Instagram handle.
It is.
So that suggests to me that you're into your kind of nutritional support and supplementation, but also it's been based around an OCR sort of industry.
Yeah. I mean, do you know what? I used to have another Instagram name, which I thought was hilarious and nobody got it. So originally I was called They Gave Me Burpees because burpees kind of sounded like another name, right? So I thought it was really hilarious and everyone was like, I don't get it. And so I was like, okay, this is not really going anywhere. Like, I didn't really have many followers and I'm not particularly an influencer or anything like that. It was more of an online diary. I used to be quite big. I lost lots of weight, got into all these fitness challenges. Fell in love with OCR, Tough Mudder, Spartan, Nuclear, like all of them. And then kind of thought, right, I need to change my Instagram name a bit now because I was reviewing protein bars, which just, again, started off as a random thing. My girlfriend introduced me to it. One day she was like, have you ever had protein bars on oats? I was like, no, like, why would I do that? And she was like, you need to try it. And then, it's heavenly. If you haven't tried it, I seriously suggest giving it a go. Honestly, it is heavenly. But anyway, so yeah, that's kind of where the name came from, really. I was reviewing protein bars, I was doing OCRs, it kind of rhymed, and it's just stuck ever since, really. It's quite cool though. I've been at some races where people who don't know my name have been like, protein bars, and they've actually shouted that instead of my name because they don't know my name. So I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be totally honest and upfront with you. When you came here to do one of our events, we did check your Instagram quickly to know what your actual name was, and then we realised who you were on the actual list with your actual name. So yeah, no, I get it. In terms of, so obviously we're hybrid fitness orientated here on the podcast, and you know you've ended up in that hybrid space. Do you think, obviously from an OCR background, there's been this kind of natural migration for people to head into the sort of DEKA Hyrox hybrid arena?
I think so, yeah. I think I mean, for me, I kind of just fell into it. Back in 2021, or when the first Hyrox came to London, I just saw it pop up on Instagram one day. And at that point in time, I wasn't really doing anything competitively. I just had a goal, which was to find a challenge and complete it. That was always the goal, was just to finish, get the medal, get the patch, whatever it was. So Hyrox popped up and I thought, oh, this looks interesting. Like, I've never really done an indoor type event. So gave it a go, loved it, and then just kind of literally fell into it. But I think, again, people either kind of fall into it, or perhaps they don't like getting muddy, you know, getting bruises and things. It's that different option, isn't it? You've got an indoor option where if you don't really want to get wet, muddy, electrocuted, attached to barbed wire, you've got that other option of, you know, being indoors and having a go at something that is challenging, but perhaps, you know, in that indoor space rather than outdoors and against all the elements.
Yeah. So just on that then, is would you say that some people misjudge that from the OCR world coming into the indoor hybrid arena? Is there like a misconception that they think they're perhaps going to more of an indoor kind of obstacle, or has it really been quite clear as a transition for people?
I think people that know, so like people like us that are kind of in the space, that know, you know, what outdoor OCRs are, and then know what Hyrox is, what DEKA is, understand it. I think there's possibly some more confusion from your regular gym goers that are getting into it. You know, quite a few, I just train in a commercial gym. Quite a few people will ask me, you know, what is this? Because they get confused between, is it an OCR? Is it outside? Or is it indoors? Or are you doing obstacles? Like, what is it you're doing in the arena? But I think for people like us that kind of, you know, are actively searching for these events, that want these challenges, we know, like, we understand that difference. I think it's just people that are learning about Hyrox and trying to understand what it is that perhaps get a little bit more confused. But I think most people do get the difference. Like, I think when you kind of explain that it's a functional fitness challenge, they get that it's very different to an outside, like, obstacle course.
Yeah, no, we go on to a good, like, kind of conversation there in regards to that, because what we've found is we've had, like, you and others, like you've just said, us turn up to our Spartan DEKA event with that logo that you're wearing that everyone knows as a Spartan race. And then there's this word DEKA next to it. And I think we've had the fitness guys, and they know what they're there for, and they've done OCRs in the past, but they know what DEKA is with that logo attached to it. Whereas there's also been the people turn up, especially here at the events that we've been running for the DEKA Mile and the DEKA Strong, where actually they're definitely drawn to it because of that logo, and they have completely underestimated it and what it is and what the kind of stations actually are. And I think they think it's going to be a bit more fitness obstacle based than it is actually functional fitness based. And that has happened a little bit, and it's been a very interesting process to watch. You know, it's an observation, not a criticism, really. It's and those guys and girls that have come and done that have got through their DEKA. They've got their DEKA mark at the end of it, you know. But it perhaps wasn't the event they thought was attached to that logo as such. But yeah, so okay, really interesting. And then sort of where you are, and you're talking about that first Hyrox. Just give us a timestamp in terms of, like, when that was.
So that was the very first London one back in 2021.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, it was November 21, was it? October 21? I can't remember now. But yeah, I just saw it pop up on Instagram. Was like, oh, this looks interesting. Let's give it a go.
Yeah,
And
and anyone
yeah,
who
like
sees that on
yeah,
YouTube, you know, if you look at that on YouTube, that event compared to what it is now, it's not the same
yeah.
thing, is it?
Oh God, honestly, it was dead. Like I've got videos where there's more judges and more staff than there are, participants and spectators. Like some of the videos is dead, and you would not get that now in High Rocks. Like that, you cannot move. So it's incredible to see how much it's grown. And I genuinely would love DEKA to do the same. I really, really would. Like I think a lot of people would enjoy that there are different options in DEKA.
And sort of on that note, including what you've just said there, the question was going to be that growth that we've seen from 21 in the hybrid fitness space, if we take it as a whole, to now is like chalk and cheese. And obviously, you could say DEKA's 2 years behind that. Let's just say 2 years behind for argument's sake. Personally, I think it's going to go big in the same way. In fact, it might even get a leg up from High Rocks because they stick an arena event in my opinion, and there won't be a XL 2021 High Rocks version of DEKA. It'll probably just be the big event, job done.
Yeah.
I don't know what your thoughts on that are.
I really do agree. I think, like I said in the beginning, like if we had an arena event and people could see how it's so different. It's different, you know, and don't get wrong, you gym affiliates, you do an incredible job. Like, honestly, you guys really do an incredible job of like, you know, setting it up, getting everybody through it and the support and everything. It's brilliant what you guys do. But we do need that arena event. Having done events in Spain and then having now done that event in the US, an arena event is so different to a gym event. And it is just so much fun. You've got, obviously, you can really put on a good race when you do the teams events. You know, it's so much fun. And I just wish that we could, the more people in the UK that, you know, perhaps can't travel or don't want to, could get to experience that. It's so much fun. And I hope DEKA do, you know, trust the UK space with that event because, you know, Spartan's big anyway, isn't it? You know, the OCRs are big anyway. And that extra branch, you know, of DEKA to Spartan, I think would, you know, it really would go big if we could get that arena event and, you know, people getting to complete their trifectas because there's already such a call for that. And like I said earlier, you know, obviously Forders are doing the roadshow event, which is great. So many people will get to complete their trifecta, but then others that perhaps can't attend or on holiday are busy that day, you know, they're still going to be wanting that trifecta.
And seeing Forders Strive event in the flesh, I've got to say, I think if we're not having an arena event, that is a great option to go as close to it as possible. Just because of the makeup of their kind of runway and stuff, it'll be really good for viewing and spectators as well. So it should be quite cool. But if we talk about a little bit that arena space, let's talk about your DEKA journey. So when did your DEKA journey start? Where was it? What was the event you took part in the first time? When was that?
So it was actually only just over a year ago. So it was in Madrid in 2023. I had sort of just found out about DEKA. Hardly had any affiliates in the UK. And my motto has always been, let's just do everything. Let's just not do one thing. Let's do everything. So I was like, right, never done DEKA before. Let's sign up for a trifecta. If I'm going to go out there, if I'm going to fly all that way, let's just do all three. So yeah, I did the trifecta on the day. Refereed in between as well, so literally had no rest. I was at the venue all day, but it was so much fun. It was when they had the DEKA Cup as well, so got to watch the elites race. Like Michaela Norman was there, Viola was there, you know, like loads of big names, so that was super cool. And I just really fell in love with it from then. I love the different options because the reason that I initially wanted to do High Rocks competitively, but I'm not good enough, and that's absolutely fine. Like, I'm not saying that in a playing my violin way at all. I'm accepting the fact that I'm not good enough to kind of podium at my age group. You know, I'm currently in open. I'm like a 135. I'll have to be like a 110 or below. You know, realistically, am I going to knock 25 minutes off? Probably not. So I accepted the fact that I was like, right, High Rocks for me now is just going to be fun. It's not going to be competitive, but maybe I could go competitive in DEKA. There's less running. You know, I can't sustain those 1Ks. I'm not quick enough to like get those 1Ks in those quick times needed. And I thought, you know what, let's see where DEKA goes. And yeah, I just loved it. Absolutely loved it. Like, fully fallen in love with it. Get so excited about the events. Like, yeah, it ticks all the boxes for me.
So some people will probably be listening and watching that aren't too familiar with DEKA just yet. But So you went and you did, from what I'm understanding, Madrid is your first event. I'm assuming that was in the same arena as the one they've just had.
Correct. Yeah.
Was it in that? Yeah. So really, it just looks aesthetically so cool.
Yeah. It was.
Well, it does on the video. It does on the video.
It was cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and it's great to hear you guys say that. And like a few of the guys that we met through DEKA have been out last weekend and done it there as well. But and it looks really cool. But your experience, you've gone in there, you've done a strong, you've done a mile, and you've done a fit, because that's what you mean by the trifecta. And
correct. Yeah.
Forget the fit, having done the strong and the mile in the big arena, the real kind of competitive arena, and then you come to sort of my affiliate, or you go to one of the other affiliates that you've been to do a DEKA strong and mile. What's the comparison? What does it feel like? Because I think that links to your earlier sort of point you made about we need that arena event in the UK.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. First of all, I do want to genuinely say that every affiliate gym I've been to, I've done quite a few, everyone has put on a great event. Like, you guys really, really, really do make it as smooth, the transitions as easy as possible. But obviously, essentially, you can only work with the space you've got, right? So, sometimes it's going to be a little bit compact. You can only set a certain number of people off on a wave at a time, which again, it's not, it's not criticism, but it's what you guys can do with the space you've got, right? So, but in the arena event, obviously you've got that space. So you've got more people setting off at the same time. You can kind of feel like you're in a race, if that makes sense, because you're aware of everybody that you set off with. You've got people coming and going. The easiest way to kind of understand, I guess, for people that don't know how the arena event is set up. So if you imagine you've got like a square, and you've got the track around the outside of that square. So in the Spanish events, typically it tends to go 1 to 6. So stations 1 to 6 up one side. So you do your 3 laps, run into zone 1, 3 laps, run into zone 2, all the way up to 6. And then you've got 7 to 10 down the other side of that square. So then you're running your 3 laps and then going into 7 at the other side, and then 3 laps, 8, and so on. So it's such a smooth, easy, layout to navigate. You've just got to think about the laps you're doing. You don't even really need to think about the stations. You just need to remember which one you're going into next. So 3 laps and then right, I'm going into number 1. So I think it's great fun, because it's just so different to the space that the affiliates have got. You've got this giant arena, and you've got scoreboards up top, and you've got your your referees in different color t-shirts, and it's just a kind of bigger environment for the race to be in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when we go to Forders. I assume you'll be there.
I know, because I'm actually going to Barcelona 2 weeks later to do a fit and a fit teams. So I'm kind of like saving my energy and my kind of oomph for then. But I'll be rooting for Forders though. Like those guys, they do great things for the community. So yeah, I really hope the event goes well, and I'm sure it will.
Yeah, no, I can echo those words for Darren and the guys there. I think it'll be it'll be a good day, and I will be participating. So I'll talk about that on another show. Awesome. So you experienced DEKA in its full kind of blossom and glory, if you like, in Madrid. So for people that are sort of unaware, Spain, outside of the US, is the only real country, is fair to say, currently that takes DEKA the way that we hope the UK might take it one day. They take it seriously. It's big arena events. So you've experienced that. You've been, like you said, to various affiliates here in the UK, and in the time I think we've known each other, if we were affiliate number 8 when you came to us, we just affiliated as number 8, and I believe a recent social media post suggested that they were on number 30. So that's a big growth in 9 months. That's quite big in 9 months. That suggests something's happening. But then you not only have been to Europe, you've decided recently that you take yourself off to the States, the home of Spartan and of DEKA. And not only did you take yourself there, but you took yourself to a unique first event for DEKA. And all while the world decided to have an IT glitch at the same time as well. Let's just talk through the bit where I said about a DEKA, your first career podium, if you like. So that was in the DEKA Fit ruck, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, correct.
And sort of tell everyone what that involves, because people won't be clear what that means.
So yeah, I naively assumed that a lot of people knew what ruck meant, but in recent conversations, a lot of people have been saying to me, what's ruck? So the Americans especially, it means a lot to them because it has links to the military. So that's why they tend to include, because they've got high rocks ruck as well. So they're the only country that do high rocks with a ruck. So basically what it is DEKA Fit with a weighted backpack on. So for women, it's 20 pounds, which works out at like 9 point something kg. So I just say 10 kg because just to round up because it's easier. So yeah, you're basically doing DEKA Fit, everything that you would normally do, but just with the weighted backpack on, which obviously adds the challenge to it, of course. So yeah, I wasn't actually meant to be doing that, but I'd always wanted to have a go at ruck. And because the US was the only place that did, DEKA rucks until Denise at Warrior Hit, most people probably know her as one of the affiliates as well. So she put on an event and did DEKA Ruck Strong and Ruck Mile. So I thought, okay, I'll have a go at Ruck Strong, just no running, just see how I do. Really enjoyed it, liked the extra challenge. So booked on to do Ruck Mile in her gym in August. So a few weeks time. And then I suddenly thought to myself, you know what? I've got a solo trifecta. I've got a teams trifecta. Let's get a ruck trifecta. I'm going to the US. I'm really fortunate that I can do that. I'm grateful and in a lucky position that I'm able to do that. And I thought, whilst I'm over there, why not just add, the ruck on the Saturday, complete the trifecta? Because in case I never get the opportunity to do it again, at least I can tick it off as something I've done.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And you podiumed in that, right?
Yes, I came second, which was like a dream come true, to be honest, because everything that had happened beforehand was just, I'd only had like 4 hours sleep. It was just a crazy journey to get there. And again, I'm so grateful that I made it, because I did even see on a couple of the Instagram posts that some of the American athletes didn't even make it to the Ultra because of this worldwide issue. So, the fact that I made it from the UK, was just so grateful. I didn't really care what happened after that. So to then podium was like a dream come true. So I was, I just couldn't believe it. I was just over the moon.
And just to sort of give some clarification for us, I'm lucky enough to have spoke to a few people that have taken part in Brits that have taken part in DEKA Fits in the States. But obviously you get a nice presentation. We see things like golden rams, silver rams, bronze rams. We see flags, we see medals, we see patches. What do you get to bring home?
So for any ruck events, you don't sadly get a ram. So it's still on my bucket list of things to try and achieve, is to get a ram in probably teams, most likely, I guess. Probably not solo. I'm not quite there yet, but maybe in the future. But so in America, the guys at Titan 6, which they have a gym and they have like a clothing brand and stuff. Really, really nice guys. I met them there, like super supportive. So they do the custom flags for each event. So obviously they've got like where you earn your flag. So obviously mine says Midwest. You get 2 patches. So for any ruck events, actually, I found out that you get patches for them. So it would say like Ruck Fit, Ruck Mile, Ruck Strong. So now obviously, of course, I'm like, next year, do I go back to try and get like the patches that I haven't got? This is like my way of thinking. Honestly, it's crazy. You
won't be the only one that thinks like that. Guarantee it.
Honestly, I'm all about the bling. Like, it's awful. Honestly, it's such an addiction. Anyway, so you get a DEKA Fit ruck patch. You get a special patch with their logo on, and then very kindly, which I didn't expect, they gave each of us on the podium a voucher for money towards their clothing and their brand and stuff. So I got $200 for finishing second, which was so incredibly generous of them. Like, I didn't expect that at all. I was just made up with the flag and patches. So because I obviously live in the UK, and he said to me, shipping's quite expensive, he just allowed me to pick some things from his stall there, because it just saved everybody the hassle of trying to ship things here and ship things there and stuff. So I got a t-shirt and a hoodie and stuff with their brand on it, and it says like DEKA Ruck on it and stuff. So yeah, that was, I mean, I really didn't expect that. So that was super cool. And I believe they do that at all of the events where they do ruck.
That's cool. That's really cool.
So they really do give some generous bling. So yeah, it's was super kind of them.
So let's just rewind just slightly to set up the next bit.
Yep.
You said, am I correct? You have a trifecta.
Yep.
A normal trifecta.
Yep.
you have a ruck trifecta.
Soon, as soon as I've done mile in a few weeks' time. Yeah.
You have that.
Yeah.
And the next part, the ultra.
Yeah. And a team's trifecta. Yeah.
Okay. Me and you had a quick chat about this before we as we arranged this. That what we've just said, providing you complete your warrior hit mile ruck.
Yeah.
There can't be another Brit that has done all of that, surely. You've got to be the first.
I would imagine so, yeah. I think the only thing I'm missing is a co-ed trifecta that I could possibly get. I think that's the only thing I'm missing. So any guys out there want to team up, give me a shout. But yeah, I think that's literally...
Kirsty. We've heard Kirsty. She wants to team up with someone to get it all in.
Yeah.
So I think it's very unlikely that there's another British person that will have all of that, because you and I know I said it there in the intro, you and I think that you are one of 2 Brits to have the ultra.
Yeah, so I met a British lady whilst I was out on course, but she lives in America. So when I checked online, she is registered as American, because obviously she's put in her American address because she lives there. So in theory, if you're going by flags, if you look at the ultra results, I'm the only other flag. So the rest of the flags are American and Canadian, I believe. I'm the only other country flag.
And therefore the only British flag on that leaderboard now.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
That's epic. That is cool.
Yeah.
And what a nice moment as well.
Yeah.
Do you feel proud of that?
Yeah, so proud. Like I kind of went with no expectations. I was like, I didn't really know what to expect. It's the first one, but it was genuinely so much fun. Americans obviously are known for being like positive and supportive anyway, aren't they? That's kind of their thing. But like until you experience it, it's just another level. Like everybody is cheering for you. I think I met the lady that finished last. I think she did it in 8 hours 40 something. She was Canadian, really nice lady, and everybody stayed out on course cheering her till the end. Did
they run, like some of them ran the last run and did the burpees, burpees with her and stuff. Saw that. That was good.
And all these volunteers, they've been there all day, but they're still hyping everybody up and cheering all the way to the end. And the support was just incredible. And if people can, afford to go, it is a long way, it's America, but like if people have got the opportunity to go, the funds, the annual leave, I honestly highly recommend it. Like it sounds scary, like 5 laps of DEKA Fit, but it's so much fun. I honestly, I had such a blast. Like I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. So DEKA Ultra, you've just said it there. So DEKA Ultra is 5 laps of DEKA Fit.
Correct. Yeah.
Making the run distance total, do the maths, Neil, really quickly.
So 25k.
25k, and just as an example, it's 100 round burpees, right?
Correct. Yes.
Just for that station, but obviously split into the 5. You literally do it once, go round again, and do that 5 times, right?
Correct. Correct.
Obviously, when most people, from my experience anyway, do a DEKA mile, DEKA strong, and then I will see a DEKA Fit in a few weeks' time. But when people do that, they attack it. You're talking about like an hour for a DEKA Fit. You're talking about anywhere between 18 and 30 minutes for a DEKA mile, maybe. And people are attacking these events. How does that differ in the kind of DEKA Ultra? How are you approaching the stations that on a normal strong mile or fit you might go for it a bit? How do you approach that?
So I knew that I was going to have to be a bit more conservative. I knew I couldn't push it because obviously I had to go for potentially, initially I was thinking naively, oh yeah, I can maybe do this in 5 hours. I was thinking like an hour around, but I then had to adjust that because I was like, okay, yeah, no, I'm definitely getting a lot more tired than I thought. So I finished in 6 hours 1 minute, which I was super happy with, but I knew that I was going to have to be conservative to kind of just keep going. So my game plan was, because you get a little pit stop area. So my game plan was that I didn't want to go into the pit stop zone until I'd done 1 full DEKA Fit. So I didn't want to keep breaking it up. Like I wanted to get, you know, one full one under my belt before I went in, had a snack, had a drink and stuff. So yeah, I definitely attacked it slower. I went at a steadier pace because I knew that it's all well and good, you know, going out hot in the beginning, but you've then got to carry on for another few hours. So I just kind of did each lap steady. So the first 3 laps, I ran all of the runs, you know, pretty much did all of the stations, not like crazy, you know, hot off the blocks, but with a good pace. Lap 4 was definitely the worst lap. It kind of felt a bit like no man's land because I'd done 3 laps, but I wasn't on the last lap yet. So I was like, lap 4 was definitely the hardest. That was the one that mentally and physically was definitely the toughest one.
Probably for ultra runners that might be listening to this, you know, as in just pure ultra running, that do lapped ultras, they'll know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean just from doing a few lapped ultra events. Really, that kind of, you use a phrase that I use, the no man's land bit. That number 3 out of 5 is the one, because you've kind of been around once, you got used to it, you've been there a second time. And the third one is no man's land because you're not on the penultimate one. And you're not on the last one. So you know, it's absolutely correct. I completely agree with that. And it's great that you say that about this event, because I think that shows some real perspective for people that perhaps don't understand DEKA, but maybe understand other sports that are endurance based. This was a real endurance event, right?
Yeah. And I think the hardest thing as well, because like having done other races that have taken that length of time or longer, you're visually stimulated if you're going through woods or, you know, you're traveling a different route, right? Your route isn't repeated. But obviously, because this was in a venue and you're just running around the same thing, you've got to stay mentally switched on, because you've got to remember how many laps you've done, what zone you're going into next. And it started to get to lap 4, I started to start losing concentration. So I was like, oh, how many times have I ran round? So I started to remember something that happened on the first lap, whether somebody fist bumped me or somebody overtook me or I took a drink. I was trying to remember something that happened, so that when I'd run round once and started to doubt myself, I was like, no, you took a drink, or oh, you high-fived that person, or that woman smiled at you. I was just trying to remember something that happened. So I knew that this was lap 2 and that I needed to go into the next zone, because I just started to switch off. You know, you're running around the same track over and over again and counting things, you just kind of zone out.
So as one of the pioneer runners, would you say this is because of the setup and the environment, this is going to be a mental challenge as much as anything?
Yeah, I would say so, because you're constantly having to remember where you are, what you've done, what lap you're on. And they had a really good setup, actually. So very similar to how I described that square for the Spanish event. So same sort of thing. In Spain, they do 3 laps, but in America, you do 2 laps. So slightly bigger track.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I was going to say how many was the laps, but you know, you've got onto it. And I think that's really crucial for me and for the listeners as well, because the perspective of that and what you're saying about the mental side is important to me as a coach, definitely. As a fan and a participant, it would be really important as well. But go on, carry on.
So that's the thing. All these things you've got to think about, right? It's like in high rocks, you know, a couple of people I've spoken to are like, oh, I always miscount a lap. You know, it's that counting, isn't it? It's that constant having to remember where you are in that race.
Like, is that a staircase there? Is that a staircase? You know, it's not like you said about the wood, right? If you're in the woods in an ultra or whatever, that's different to perhaps being like, oh yeah, that's that same staircase for the 900th time or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. You're not getting as much like visual stimulation to take your mind off what you're doing. But the setup was great. So like, you start in your start pen, you've got the same format where it's kind of like in a square and your stations are around, and then the pit stop. So the easiest way that I can describe this is if you think of like a Formula 1 track, you know, they just pull off to the side. So at the other end of the venue, the hall, was the pit stop. So essentially you are on your course, you just take a slight detour off the track, like minimal detour, like not crazy big, just like in Formula 1 racing where the car just pulls off, and that's your pit stop zone where, you know, you've got your drinks and your food and stuff. So also what you've got to remember is, now I wasn't taking very long in the pit stop zone because I was trying to kind of keep that momentum going. I didn't want to be hanging around for ages. I wanted to refuel but then get back out going. But if you do happen to take longer, because it's midway. So you come out of the burpees. As soon as you come out of the burpees, you're straight back into lap 1 of the next DEKA Fit. So essentially you're running out, and if you detour off into that pit stop zone, that's halfway through that first lap. So if you're
the next round
of the next DEKA Fit, so if you're taking a long time in your pit zone, you've then got to remember when you come back out that you're still halfway through lap 1 of your second, third, fourth DEKA Fit. So all of these little things you've got to remember to keep sort of on track of like where you are.
Yeah. Did you have anyone with you?
Yeah. So my girlfriend came with me. Yeah. So she was in the pit zone. She was getting all the food ready and the drinks ready. She was filming me.
Did she assist on the kind of like knowing where you were?
Yeah. So she was keeping an eye in the kind of like the DEKA zone, you know, where spectators can go and where they got all the stalls and stuff. That was in the middle as well. So she was able to get, you know, really good views watching me on the stations. She was able to keep an eye on the leaderboard and see like what DEKA I was on, what zone I was in, whether I was out running. So yeah, she was really good in sort of helping me get everything set.
It's very good to hear this insight, because in terms of a UK based audience and a UK based kind of place, we're probably still classed as early adopters in the UK, as people that have done DEKA. But what's really good is, you know, this will be out there now, and we've got someone to hear from you today that's been there and done it. And what'd you get? What did they give you?
So very similar, actually. I thought it was really clever how they did this. So when you do the OCR Ultra, the outdoor one, you get a big belt buckle medal.
Yeah.
Which I have from doing one of those. And then, so it's a belt buckle ultra. So it matches the fact that it's a belt buckle in the OCR world as well. Yeah. So it's like I'd put a picture on my Instagram. If any people watching this that follow me, they might have seen it, but it's like a big belt buckle medal. It's super cool. And then you get the t-shirt as well that says Ultra on it and the distances.
Yeah. So
I was hoping for a patch, but yeah.
let's assume we're right, and that you are the only person that lives in the UK that's done the DEKA Ultra for now. What Kirsty's wearing, everyone, for those that are listening, is the DEKA t-shirt that looks very similar to the DEKA t-shirt that we would give out here when we do Mile and Strong, but it's got the massive word Ultra on the chest. Have you taken that t-shirt off yet?
Do you know what? This is actually the first time I've worn it, because I have so many DEKA t-shirts, literally hundreds of them, that every time I pull one out the drawer, it's not this one. So this one needs to be at the top of the drawer now, because honestly, I've got so many DEKA t-shirts.
Do you feel like you don't want to wear it because you want to keep it nice?
Yeah, it's sort of like that as well, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like the only one possibly that lives in the UK. I'm sort of like, well, I need to keep it like precious.
I think I've got a bit of that sort of thing in me as well. So a few more questions, actually, just more quick fire. DEKA World Champs, any thoughts on those in terms of being there or competing there or going to watch, or, you know?
I would love to go. I'd love to qualify. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. I'm not sure that I'm going to make it this season. Although I've done a lot of DEKAs, I don't know if I've made it into qualifying positions. Yeah. Possibly in like a team's mile, but then it's a long way to go, you know, for a smaller race minutes. Like that. Yeah. So to be honest, I'm not sure. I know there was some confusion about what the rankings were. I thought they were top 20. I've heard other people say it's top 15. So I don't think I've made it, which is fine. Like, you know, I've had some really great results this year that I'm really pleased with. And from going through like a weight loss journey and a fitness journey, I'm not one of those people that wants it yesterday. I know that things take time, and I know that, you know, I'm training, everything's going in the right direction. So it will happen. When it happens, you know, I'm just enjoying the journey, you know, just enjoying what's going on along the way. But yeah, the ultimate goal would be to get to DEKA Worlds. I would love that to happen. Yeah.
And do you think, like with the DEKA Ultra you've just done, that was the first one ever, right?
Yeah.
So obviously there is no world champs, because you can't have that after one race. But do you think this will become part of the DEKA World Champs? I can't say I've asked DEKA the question, so I don't know what the answer is. But do you think there would be a place for it if it starts popping up in Spain and the UK, and we actually start seeing it happen as a regular event? Do you think they would host it as a World Champs event?
Yeah, I definitely think there could be, yeah, because they had the elites running as well. So
were they mixed in with you?
Well, us age groups went first, so they wanted the age groups out of the way because obviously the elites were going to be, you know, quicker. They were going for those rams with like crazy times on. What's funny actually is that until so Dylan Scott, they set the men off first, and I was literally just on my last bit of my last lap, so I wasn't on course with them for much. But it's not until you get overtaken by like Dylan Scott, for example, that you realize how quick they are. You know, like you can see them on TV, you know, you can see them on the live streams, but it's not until you're in person and he's running past you, you're like, okay, I can see why they're another level. And I think he did it in like 2 hours 45 or something crazy, which was absolutely insane. You know, that's like less than half my time, but you know, it's incredible. Like I find it really motivating. Like it doesn't bother me that I get overtaken. I find it motivating because I'm like, you know what, like if I ever get to that level, if I ever could achieve that, you know, that's like a dream. But I just find it really motivating to see them, you know. But yeah, I think there definitely could be a place for it for sure. I think, you know, you got an elite level and then you could have an age group, you know, set for people like us. But yeah, I mean, I hope that's something they would consider because again, I think that it's definitely, I think it would just be fun. It adds another like level to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Did you and then just a kind of couple of names to talk about. Did you meet Rollerskate Robin and did you meet Yancy? Did you meet those guys?
Yeah, so Rollerskate Robin was out doing the ultra when I was. She's lovely. She is so lovely. Like what a sweetheart. She was just cheering everyone on, and yeah, like she's so super supportive. So that was cool. Yancy was out on course in the ultra, giving everyone high fives and filming. So yeah, that was cool. You know what? All of them were super supportive, and I think what was quite nice was because I had podiumed on and raced on the Saturday, and everyone saw me waving my British flag. Most people remembered me on the Sunday. So when the guy was announcing, he was like, "Oh, Kirsty from the UK has now gone in on lap 3 to do her, you know, burpees or whatever." So it was so nice that people remembered me. I just thought that was really sweet. And like, you know, everybody was just high-fiving, fist bumping. And it was just a really, really genuinely nice environment. Everyone was supporting everyone. And, you know, like I said, it doesn't matter what time you did. I mean, for example, the girl that was in my age group that won was 2 hours and 20 minutes quicker than me. Yeah. You know, but there was another girl out on course that, like I said, she did it in 8 hours something. So it really didn't matter what level you were. Everyone was just having a great time. And, you know, it was their personal achievement to finish it no matter what time they did it in. And it was just, honestly, it was really genuinely so much fun.
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. And anyone who doesn't know who Yancy is the co-founder of DEKA, and was our first guest on the show, actually. Cool. So there is an episode that people can tune into and hear all about DEKA and how it was founded and the passion that the guys behind it have towards the event and what it means at all levels, which is what you've just said as well, which I think is really important. So a final question then. Let's say in the perfect world that you and I live in, we want DEKA Ultra in the UK and it comes to the UK. Yeah. What is your advice to us British people that might want to take on a DEKA Ultra?
So I would say give it a go. Like, don't be scared. Don't be like put off by the fact, because, you know, 5 DEKA Fits, when you say it like that, it sounds like a lot. But you know what? It's just have fun with it for the first one. Just do it, experience it, have fun, enjoy it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. And just see it as a challenge that like anyone can do, because genuinely, you know, when I was out in America, there was everybody, all shapes and sizes, all levels of fitness, all ages, you know, and everyone was just having a great time. And I think like sometimes it's easy to get caught up in that competition, you know, that like sort of ferociousness, you know, that going out hot. But also there is so much fun and something really nice about just doing an event and just finishing, you know, not necessarily having to podium or having to be in the top 3, like just doing an event where everybody comes together. Everybody is, I know it sounds cheesy, but everyone is actually celebrating everybody's levels of fitness. And so for a first one, I would say, don't be scared, take it on, give it a go, enjoy it. You've got the pit stop zone. You know, I think you get 10 hours to complete it. So there's no rush, just have fun.
Yeah, no, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, Kirsty, I'm gonna do my first DEKA Fit in the Forders event. So that'll be my first
awesome.
at that. And my mate Tate, he loves a DEKA, but he's got an injury, bless him. So he's gonna take the On the Rocks cameras, and he's going to take over those, and he's going to capture me doing it as well. So we'll share some of that. But I've got to say, my first, and I'll text you straight after that to say whether I think I would have it in me to do an ultra, because I don't know what a fit feels like.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll be totally honest with you. I don't know what a strong or a mile feels like as a soloist either. I've only done teams because I've been too busy running the events here. But I have done teams. But as of the release of this episode, I will have, as people are listening to this, they will now know. I can now say that I will have done a DEKA Strong and Mile, which is going to, having talked to you so close to me having this experience, I'm going to text you straight away and let you know what I think, because I think from visually watching what you've achieved is huge from a physical and mental point of view. So we'll have a little look. I'll have more of a place of judgment, I think is what I'm saying, come the end of this current weekend. And from when I do my DEKA Fit in a few weeks' time, I'll be able to kind of assess the situation and kind of share stories more with people like yourself, and try and learn from what I can from you as well. And I guess as an ultra runner in the past, in the running world, something like hybrid ultra stuff, i.e. the DEKA Ultra now, like here we are. It's kind of like, let's go, right? Let's get on.
I mean, the thing is, that's exactly what I thought when I saw it. I thought, you know what, this just looks fun and it looks different, and let's give it a go. Because with things like this, like I didn't go there thinking I was going to be the fastest person, or I didn't go there expecting to podium. I just went there with the goal of like, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to give it my best shot and I'm going to complete it. And, I think it's like I said, a few minutes ago, like sometimes we do get caught up in that, I guess, pressure or kind of drive to try and podium or to try and win something. And honestly, I just had the best time in the ultra because I didn't put any expectations on myself. I just thought, you know what, let's give this my best shot. Let's just enjoy the environment. And honestly, everybody was in good spirits. And I think that really helps as well when everybody is like wanting you to succeed, wanting you to do well. Everyone's cheering everybody on, and you're kind of chatting to people as you go round. And it was just genuinely a good fun event. And I think if anybody is looking to push themselves in an environment where there is no pressure of time as such, because you've got 10 hours, then this is perfect, because it's giving you that opportunity to kind of go at your own pace without necessarily feeling like any pressure or feeling like you have to go fast, if that makes sense.
No, I totally hear what you're saying, and I think it fits in with the DEKA ethos. 100%. And again, like I said, there was everybody of every different level. There was even one guy, he was walking all of the laps and then sort of going hard on the stations. That was his tactic. So again, there's no pressure to even run if people don't want to run. Obviously it makes, it gets you done quicker. But again, there's no pressure to even run. If you want to power walk it and then go hard on some of the stations and then use those power walks of recovery, that's a tactic, I guess. No, awesome. Brilliant. Well, for me personally and all the Purple Army here at our gym, obviously we've met you and you've been here with us. I think, congratulations on what you've achieved.
Thank you. That's so kind. Thank you.
That's brilliant. And in terms of people that have listened to the show or watched the show, where can they sort of follow your journey and have a look at what you did?
So my Instagram is where I kind of document everything and like post about what I do and make little videos and stuff if anybody wants to see like what the event was like. And so it's my Instagram, which is, what is my Instagram? Protein bars _ and _ OCRs. I always get confused myself. It's too many underscores, that's why. But so I'm sure you'll probably link it in the
I'll put it in
this one.
But it'll be in the description below, so people can click on it hopefully. So that'd be cool.
So there's a few bits and pieces about it there, and you can kind of see a bit more about DEKA stuff and pictures, videos, and all that kind of thing. Awesome.
Well, I really appreciate your time and appreciate having you come on the show and actually share that unique, what is a unique experience at the moment for a British person. So I do really appreciate the time, and it's been great having you on the show. So thanks very much for coming in.
No, honestly, thank you for having me. Like it was a real pleasure to do this, and hopefully it's given people a bit of an insight. And if anyone's got any questions, feel free to message me. Like if you're interested in it, but you're not sure and you want to know more, feel free to drop me a message. I'm happy to always chat to anyone.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Awesome. So everyone who's listening and watching, hopefully you enjoyed the show. Obviously, there's some really unique carrots and nuggets in there for people to hear and listen to. So if you think you know anyone who might like the show, please do share the show with your friends and family. And we would love to hear your thoughts. Put some comments down there on whichever platform it is that you are listening or watching on. But for now and for this show, I just want to say thanks again, Kirsty. Thanks everyone for listening to the show. And I hope to see you and meet you here again to speak more on the rocks.